Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. I think we can just proceed. Please let me know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
All right. Mr. Olufemi, good evening.
Good evening, ma. How was
Yeah.
your day, ma?
It was great. Thank you. How was yours?
Fine, thank God.
All right. So I think we'll start by assessing ourselves. How was our last class? Spoke about financial management and cost optimization strategies. How was it? What did we learn something from that class? I'm asking everybody, you can unmute and let me know what you feel. What did you learn from last class? And how are you putting it, or how are you going to put it in use for your farm? Please, you have the floor. Mr. David, Mr. Azan, Mr. Olufemi, Mr. Akombejimo, Infinix S5. The floor is yours. Let's hear what you learned from the last class and how you'll be putting it in use in your farm. Are we saying we didn't learn anything from last class? Abby, is everybody with me? Anyone here? Or is my network bad? Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I was saying, what did we learn from the last class? And how are you planning to put it in use in your farm? Or how have you been putting it in use in your farm? I just need one or two feedback so we can proceed.
All right, from the last class, we learn about this optimization of resources during the farm, but we're looking at how we can use alternatives so that at this difficult economic times now that we have in the country. But based on the last assessment you gave us about maize alternative, I discovered that it is difficult to apply some of the resources because some of them are difficult to come by in large quantity.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay. So some of them are difficult to come by in large quantity, but I think that with the application of I've been thinking of if in the cultural sphere we can actually have farmers that you supply them with inputs and everything, so that at the end of the day they'll supply directly to the feed producers instead of using I think if we can remove middlemen from the equation, we should be able to have a little bit cheaper and more affordable resources for feed production. So that's what I'm thinking.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback, Mr. Zan. Yeah, so does any other person have what they learned from last class? Probably not last class, from previous classes, right? What have you learned? How have you been putting them to use? So how have you been putting them to use, and or how do you intend to put them to use later in the future? Let's just interact before we start reviewing the assignments. Mr. Azan has said his own, and I quite appreciate that. Let's unmute and talk, please. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Akombi, we are with you. Please can proceed. Please. Mr. Akombi, you can unmute, and let's hear you.
I'm thinking maybe people online now are actually a bit what is it called? Mic shy, and everybody's quiet.
Yeah, well, I don't know why everybody's quiet. It's making me feel like they are not hearing me or something. But I think
Hello, can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you, Mr. Akombi.
Oh, okay. It's like you are trying to carry the participants along about what we have done in the past.
Yes,
Like
please.
like the software. I think I have learned a lot from this training that accounting record is very, very key for you to make to run a profitable poultry. For you to make a profit, for you to know whether you are making profit, you have to have a good accounting record, which is number one. So I think Clever App can help you in that area. The second one is on the topic of what do you call it? This financial management and cost optimization. So I also learned that you need to manage your finances very well. Then you should learn how to do cost reduction so that you can maintain your profit and make sure that you are running your farm without running into a loss. So I think the last time we said about I raised an issue about what can we use to replace maize. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Please, I can hear you. I'm with you.
Okay. I think the last time we raised an issue about what we can use to replace maize that should be on Friday. So I've
On
read a lot
Friday.
about what on Friday, yes. I've read a lot that from the assignments that people are uploading, I've seen the feedback from people that there is a way that you can go along. Although I've not really gone through all the assignment that people, I also submitted my own assignment. I've been able to grab that there is something that you can use partially to replace maize, which will eventually reduce your cost of feed. So I think that's what I can really say for now. Thank you very much. Hello,
All
can you
right.
hear me?
Thank you. Yes, I can hear you, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Akombi. Thank you to everyone that have spoken. Mr. David, you unmute your mic.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah, good evening. I'm
Good
David.
evening.
Though I was not in the last class, but I watched the recorded session, and I learned that we can minimize cost with the use of we can minimize cost in our poultry farming and look for ways to bring about optimum production. So I have applied that in my own poultry farm, of which I have gotten maize and some ingredients which I would use for the feed, which would reduce cost to some extent as feed for my birds. So that's it.
That's nice. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Well done, everyone. I think when we do our assignment, we can be able
Hello.
to. Yes, please, can go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to speak about the app. In fact, the app is very nice. I learned a lot from it, and it has made my recording more straight and precise. I've learned to keep a better recording process. And also from the last class, talking about the substituting other things with maize. That's substituting other products with maize. So it helps us very well. It will help us minimize our cost. That's what I've learned.
That makes sense.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm so excited to hear that. Thank you. So I think without wasting much of our time, we'll dive into today. So today's class was meant to be on the Telegram channel, right? It was meant to just be like live on Telegram. But I just felt we need to see what others have done, because it is not everybody that will open each assignment, right? It's not everybody that open each assignment on the group, even though they uploaded it. So I feel like, okay, you know what? Let's gather around, view these assignments. I've actually gone through some of them, not all. I've gone through some of them, and it's quite interesting what I have there. So here's what I will do. We'll start reviewing the assignment from the first person that submitted. So peradventure, we did not get to your own before the time runs out. I'm sorry, right? But we can still do that on the live chat. So the first person that submitted his assignment was Olanrewaju Afis. He's obviously not here, but I might watch later. So let me just share my screen, and I'll just share my screen and bring up the assignment, and we'll look at it together. All right, let me share my screen now. Okay. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
You can see it now.
All right. Right. That's awesome. So the question was, make a research on alternative replacement to maize. And why did this question come up? It was because presently maize is like becoming gold in the world of feed production. So we cannot continue relying on that. There should be alternative, and which is why I said, okay, you know what, since we're talking about cutting costs and managing our finances, let us just see the good work, what we can have aside maize, right? And now, first person that submitted the Olanrewaju Afis made mentions of some basic things that can be used to replace maize, right? Now, what I like about this particular assignment is he stated first the use of maize and why maize is important, right? So he said maize is the most common cereal used in poultry diet due to its low fiber. So if you are looking for an alternative to maize, right, you need to first get what does maize do in the feed, right? So he stated here that it has low fiber, high fat content, and have high palatability. So those are like those are the basic reason why maize is important in feed production. Now, what can we use to replace it? According to this assignment now, stated we can use rice. So you see, the main importance of this assignment is to let you know, okay, so you know that if maize is not available, you can get rice, you can get rice bran, you can get wheat bran, even sorghum and cassava plants. These are things that we can see around us, right? These are things that we can see around us, and it can also produce what the maize is producing. So if you remember what I said in the last class, while you are cutting costs, also make sure that you are not reducing quality. Make sure you have the same quality, but you are minimizing how you spend your money, managing your finances, because it is what you have, you spend, right? So now we learned from this assignment we can see that maize has low fiber content here, high fat content, high palatability, that's like accessibility to taste, right? Yellow maize is preferred over its white variety, as the yellow maize is rich in pigments, responsible for deep yellow, blah 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 blah. So these are like the quality why maize is important. So let's check what rice can do. Only broken rice or rejected lots which are unfit for human consumption are generally used as a common cereal for poultry feeding. So now, you know, I've been to there was a time I was in Enugu State, right? I got to the part where they make rice, the village where they make rice, right? And imagine you stay somewhere around that place. There are some rice grains that are not useful, that cannot be consumed. Now, instead of looking for maize, you can get that and make it into a feed for your poultry birds. And you don't even have to stress yourself over maize, right? So this is like one alternative to maize. This is a way of cutting costs in your farm. Now let's go to rice bran. Most important byproduct obtained during milling of paddy for rice are rice bran and rice polish. Practically, it is difficult to distinguish between bran and polish. The good quality rice bran contain 11 to 12% protein, blah blah blah. Good quality polish. So see, these are like talk on rice. Wheat also, according to Mr. Olanrewaju Apis, wheat is also another way to cut costs. So you have access to wheat, you have access to rice, you have access to sorghum, right? You have access to cassava plants. I think cassava is sort of like rampant everywhere, yeah? So these are things we can put into consideration, right? I believe there are some feed millers among us. Some people does feeds here. You can put this thing into consideration so that you can even reduce cost for yourself and for everyone that will be getting from you, right? So how does cassava plant work? A meal obtained from the root of the cassava plant is rich in energy. So I already know that, okay, if I'm using cassava for my beds, they are going to be rich in energy, right? And if you look at sorghum also, sorghum is comparable with maize in terms of protein and energy, and it can replace maize up to 70%, right? That is, if you have 70% of what maize can do, you're fine. That does not reduce the quality. I believe everyone can hear me, please. That does not reduce the quality of what you're giving to your birds, right? And that is also saving your costs, right? So note the quality of cereals grain will also depends on seasonal and storage condition. Poor growing or storage condition can lead to grain with a lower than expected energy content. So basically, I think I'll open the next one. Basically, this is so from the first assignment now, we've learned that rice, sorghum, wheat, cassava plants are good alternative to maize, right? So please let me know if you can hear me. It's looking like I'm talking to myself.
We can hear you.
All right, thank you. So check the next assignment. I'm hoping that I'll be able to touch all the assignments. I'm hoping that I'll be able to touch all the assignments, hopefully, before this class runs out. So the next assignment is from, who is this person? Abdullah Nasifi, Mr. Abdullah. Yeah, I believe you can see my screen now, yeah? Please let's respond.
We can see your screen.
All right, thank you. So, okay, let's just read through a little. The growing food crisis has presented a challenge to poultry farmers, poultry nutritionists, especially in India. Okay, to navigate the possibility of utilizing other potential energy feed sources, blah, blah, blah. So here are some feed used alternatively for maize, cassava peel. Now, so if you look at the first assignment, that talks about cassava plants, right? The plants. Now, this one is saying cassava peel. Now, cassava peel can be used for feeding poultry after sun drying. So processed peel contain HCN level that are acceptable for poultry, yeah? The method of fermentation of cassava peels has been tested by several authors, whether to low fiber content or to increase the crude protein content, but the results do not are inconclusive. So if you look at it now, remember that the first one we check, it's made us realize that maize has low fiber content and high fat content. So now we have also realized here that cassava peel rather has a low fiber content, which is a very good alternative for maize. So you have cassava plants in your house. I feel some people used to have like small cassava farm at their backyard or something. You have a small cassava farm in your house. The peel should not waste, right? The peel can be used to make feeds for your farm. So these are like ways to cut costs. You know, we have to think outside the box. We have to think beyond the physical. That's the right word. So in some experiments, growth performance was maintained with flesh diets containing up to 15% meal cassava peel. Food intake. So we can see here that cassava peel is a very good alternative to maize, right? Also, we have rice bran. We've checked it in the last assignment, but this comes with a very detailed explanation. So rice bran is rich in protein and fat, and the nutrients contained in rice bran are dry matter, metabolizable energy, crude protein, methionine, cysteine, lysine, and all the same, everything. So basically, these I believe are things that the bird needs to grow, right? So I believe we all know now that maize cannot use us and do shakara again. We have alternatives already, right? So you don't have to kill yourself in getting maize. You don't have to spend all your last cash in getting maize by all costs if you are making feeds, right? And if you are not making feeds now, you can hint your supplier that, see, I've gotten alternative, we'll do this, do that, and it will work. So this also talks about wheat bran, which we checked in the last class, and sorghum. Basically, sorghum is like maize, right? It's sort of comparable to maize. So these are basically initiative ideas that can be used as alternative, right, to feed production. As I said, as I promised, we are going to check as much as we can. So we'll be checking the third one, alternative for maize, additional. So I'm actually reviewing this assignment according to how it was submitted. So like I said earlier, we're in this class and we did not review yours. I'm sorry, but it's because you didn't submit earlier. So this one is not opening. I don't know why. Let me try again. Please, are you following the class? If you have questions, please, can always go ahead to ask your question. It is important to ask questions, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, please. I can hear you.
Okay, my question is this: the rice brown and and the other item that was mentioned in those assignments, can they partially substitute maize, or can they totally substitute maize? That's my question. You know, if you want to do feed formulation, there is a percentage of maize that you need. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, please. Hello? I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. If you want to do feed formulation, maybe for layers or broilers, the formulation can be 50% of what do you call it, of maize. My question is this: if you have, if you want to use rice bran to substitute maize, are you going to remove the maize totally and replace it with rice bran or wheat, which is going to be 50%? Is it total replacement or partial replacement? That's my question.
Okay, so thank you for that question. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you, yeah.
All right, so thank you for that question. So I believe what we are trying to do now is getting alternatives. So, you know, if looking at the kind of nutrients that maize would give to your birds, and the nutrients others will give to your bird, right? Now, you might necessarily not have to remove maize completely, right? But you can juggle it. Okay. So maybe you use, I'm just saying that, for example, now if you use 1 bag of maize, right? And if 1 bag of maize used to be 10,000 naira, I use a bag of maize, right? Now, if a bag of maize is now like 25,000 or 30,000, you can buy half bag or quarter. I'm just saying, for example. Now, supplement it with the alternative that you have gotten, right? So that you get quality for your birds at a reduced cost.
Okay.
Yeah, so do you understand?
Okay. I understand what you are. It's partial replacement. Okay, I understand that.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
okay, thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. So do you have any other question? Somebody is raising his hand. Please, Michael, you can unmute.
All right. Yes. All right. My question is just more like a follow-up of what the person just asked.
Okay.
You know, when we're trying to formulate a compound feed, ration for birds or poultry, for instance, they have some kind of percentages. Like there's an amount of maize, like each stage. Like let's take for instance, for the starter phase, there is required amount of energy needed by one bird you get. Now, from what you have said, you talked about the partial replacement. So now, how do we know that actually the quantity of maize that is left and then the quantity of the rice bran, whatever thing that you have added, we measure up to if it is half-half. Now, knowing fully well that, okay, for now, maize has the highest amount of metabolizable energy content, a kind of. Now, let's take, for instance, now is around maybe a particular portion is around 2,000 something kcal or something. And then if you now add the rice bran, if you divide the maize into half, divide the rice bran into, how sure are we that, okay, the half rice bran, when combined with the half maize, will give us what is required for the bird? I don't know if you understand my question.
Yeah, sure. I understand your question.
Okay. Yes.
I understand your question. Are you done with the question, or can I
Yes,
answer?
I'm done.
All right, thank you very much. So here's the first thing to note. Most of these alternatives have exactly, okay, maybe not exactly, but have nutrients that are close to what maize have, right? So supplementing them is more like you're still using maize, but another thing. Now, me talking to you, I'm not a professional feed miller, right? I don't produce feeds, but I have an idea that I can share. So this alternative cassava peel, cassava plants, rice bran, sorghum, wheat, and every other alternative that can be used as maize, they have nutrients that are good for these birds, right? Maize is like the king that has the highest nutrients. That is why I said you can juggle this and they are not missing any nutrients. Fact that there is maize already and the others that you are using also have this nutrients. So if you look at cassava peel now, cassava peel has low fiber content. Maize has low fiber content. So if you use a little of cassava peel, a little of maize, you are still getting the same thing. I don't know if you got that. I don't know if you understand that.
Yes, I'm with you.
All right. So basically, but I cannot say use half bag of maize, use half bag of cassava. I cannot give you a precise measurement because that is not what I do. Do you understand?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. If I was a feed miller, I would just tell you use this quantity, and to work. But I'm not here to mislead. I'm just here to guide. That being said,
Thank you.
yeah, that being said, I believe there are still more questions, but if they are not, I think we might just review the third assignment. There is it. Okay. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Can see your screen.
All right, thank you very much. So this is from Aisha Bala. And this is another alternative we've not seen before. It is pearl millet. One of the energy sources available for replacing maize in poultry is pearl. Pearl has been shown to be suitable feed ingredients for poultry diet. If you look at this one now, it gave you like a percentage that can be added, right? Up to 50% pearl can be added to poultry diet without adversely affecting performance, right? Now, if you like followed my last explanation, I said some of these alternatives have the same nutrients, right? That corn has, that maize has rather, Now, if you look at pear millet, according to what this research said, they said pear millet actually has an higher melanin than corn, right? So if you combine maize and this together, it will still give you the exact results you need. So you don't have to kill yourself, like spend all your last cash buying maize, and then you don't have money to buy the other feed, the other materials you need, right? So you can juggle them together. So basically, the purpose of this research we made, the purpose of this particular class, actually, for those that were not in the last class and those that did not join early, is basically how to cut costs, right? Yeah, cutting costs and also still having in mind that you need to make quality, right? So feeding pearl millet to laying hens has an added benefit, although there are no adverse effects on egg production or feed efficiency. So if we look at the nutritional content of pearl millet, it has dry matter, metabolizable energy, crude protein, methionine, cytine, blah, 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 and all the tin and phosphorus that it should have. This maize also have these things, right? So certain things you can juggle together, you can just juggle them, and they are very suitable for feed production. Let's try and see if we can take one or two more. Let's see if we can take one or two more before we call it a day. But please, if you have questions, please please ask your questions. So I'm available to answer your questions, every one of them. That's why I'm here. Let's see this. So again, if we are not able to review your assignments, please don't be angry. We are checking them accordingly, right? But we'll still talk more on the Telegram channel. Yeah. Okay, this also talks about sodium, but let me just share so that everyone can see it. Yeah, I believe you can see my screen now. So this is from Oyelumade Rotimi, and it spoke about sorghum, right? I think we've spoken about sodium before. Sodium is increasingly gaining acceptance as an edible cereal, high in protein, full of antioxidants. As an ingredient for bird feed, sorghum compares quite favorably with maize in terms of nutritional quality. So you have access to sorghum, right? I think sorghum is basically more like maize, yeah? So it can actually even replace it. That is if you have access to it. Now, favorable with maize in terms of nutritional quality, with the added advantage of being tolerant to extreme weather and can be grown in Nigeria as opposed to imported maize. Various stakeholder express, blah, 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 blah. So sodium has calories, that's fats, that's sodium, that's carbohydrates, fiber, sugars, protein. So these are like, these are basically things that the birds actually need, right? They are things that the birds actually need, and you don't even have to tear your pocket to get these things. You get, so if we continue reviewing more, I think we would see more of that. But I promise that I'm going to check all of the assignments. Apart from the ones we've checked now, I'm going to check others one by one and drop a review on the group, right? I'm going to do that. That is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. So I believe we've been able to get one or two. We've been able to learn that, okay, there are also alternatives, right, to maize. So maize cannot do shakara for us. Maize can, although it is inevitable, we have to use it, but we can reduce the usage and add other nutritional other stuff to it that can benefit the chickens to either broiler or layers. Are we together, please?
Yes, we are together.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, we are together.
Raju Hafiz, we checked the
Yes,
assignment.
ma'am.
Check the assignment first. Unfortunately, you were not in the class when we were checking it.
My network was bad, ma'am.
I know it's fine. It's fine. The class is being recorded, so you can go back to check again. Can go back to read it again. Yeah.
All right.
So like I said, I'm going to check all of the assignments and drop a review. So if you did not review your assignment here, rest assured that we review it and I'll drop a comment on it in the Telegram channel. So I think I'll just open the floor in the next 5 minutes. If you have any question, or contribution, suggestions, please let me know. Anybody?
I have more or less a contribution.
Please go ahead.
Okay, my name is Emmanuel Okon.
All right.
In respect to the questions that the two other participants has asked,
Yes.
I want to use my research as an example.
Okay.
You know, they talked about, in that research, they talk about using cassava as an alternative. And in regards to the quantity of the substitute to maize, if you go to that research, you see that they mentioned a particular, because of course, like you said, and I'm very sure many of us here are not feed millers, so we will not know what is the percentage that we use to substitute the corn if we are to make, unless you call an expert. So my suggestion is this: for those of us who are practicing and those of us who are about to go into it, if you intend to do a homemade feed by replacing some amount of corn with whatever substitute we want to use, I think my advice is this: that in whatever we are doing, we will try as much as we can to get any of the feed millers or an expert in food in poultry nutrition to assist, so that you don't go and in the process of trying to save money, you go and endanger the life of your livestock. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. That is very good advice. Thank you.
Okay, I have a contribution also.
You have a question? Yes, please go ahead.
I have a contribution.
Oh, contribution. Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, my own contribution is that in whatever we are trying to do, when we are trying to invent or try out new things, we should have like a control experiment to see the effect, or to see the extent at which the experiment we are trying to carry out will work, so that if there's going to be any casualty, it will be minimized. So by having a control and the real experiment, we'll be able to measure the level of the results we are trying to get, to see how effective it is. So we shouldn't just introduce a new product or a new thing to the whole flock in order not to record loss. So when we try out with little and we see the results, then we can introduce it to the rest of the flock. That's my own contribution.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Lanrawaju. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That was a quite interesting one. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. That's amazing. So, like I said earlier and in the last class, please, as much as we're trying to cut costs, we should also put quality in check, right? Also always put quality in check. And please, whatever we're doing, if we are not a feed miller, like Mr. Emmanuel and Mr. Lanrawaju have said, let's try and experiment first before you do a large quantity and give to your birds. Please, 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 please. Let's be careful. Yeah, let's be careful. I think that's the word. Yeah. So are there any other contributions, questions, suggestions, and the likes? If they are not, tomorrow we'll be having a live session tomorrow. So are you saying something? Okay. So tomorrow we'll be having a live session by 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. in the evening. And tomorrow we'll be looking at climate smart poultry farm and also biosecurity measures. So if you remember, last class I spoke about the biosecurity measures. So we'll be enlightened tomorrow on what biosecurity measures truly are and how we can take those measures. We'll also learn about climate smart tomorrow. So tomorrow class promised to be a very amazing one. We'll be having an expert in our midst who'll be taking us through the class. So don't miss it for anything. I promise it's going to be amazing, right? It's going to be sweet. So that being said, I think we can call it a day. Am I right?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so we can call it a day. So
Yes, we can.
this recording will be made available by tomorrow morning or tomorrow. Let me not promise morning. Tomorrow, this recording will be made available. And as I said, I'll try as much as possible to review all the assignments. And please note that the assignments, for everyone that does the assignment, shows that you want to be certified in this course. So it is just those people that have been submitting the assignments that will get, and people that have been in class. Trust me, I'm taking note of people that comes to class daily. I believe Mr. Taiwo Amole comes to class regularly. Adan Nandukwe comes to class. Mr. Akombijimo also does. Mr. Olufemi also comes to class. In fact, I know most people that comes to class regularly, and also those that did the assignment are the ones that will get certified. So in case you don't get a certificate after this course, don't be angry, right? That being said, I think we can call it a day. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for this session. It was amazing. I had an amazing time talking to you all. So see you tomorrow by 5 p.m. The meeting link will be sent by 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock tomorrow. Have an amazing evening. Have a wonderful evening. Rest well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
I
Good
you
night.
too. Thank you very much, ma.
Thank you. You're welcome.